Hi, my name is Kassandra Prus. I'm a therapeutic yoga teacher. I work a lot with seniors and folks with mobility issues, things like arthritis, herniated discs, lupus, all sorts of things. And I often get people coming in with low back pain, with hip pain, or coming in with hip replacements. So I've got a sequence of exercises and yoga postures that we can work with today to just work with low back pain or any hip pain. A little bit of strengthening work for the hips, particularly for those with hip replacements, and just basically moving the low back and spine in all its different ways. A little bit of strength, a little bit of mobility work. So yeah, let's get started. So in your chair, you can bring yourself a little bit forward from the back of it so there's a little space behind you. I'll spin right to the side here so you can see me. And so I've got a little bit of space, and I'm going to get you to start by imagining that your pelvis is like a bowl. So if I went front and back here, you can see sort of the bottom line of my shirt is fairly flat. And what I'm looking for is if this was the line of a bowl, that I was letting water pour out the back of the bowl. And then I'm going to let the bowl come back to neutral, and then I'm going to let the bowl start to tip a little bit forwards, like I was trying to stick my bum up behind me, or water was pouring up the front of the bowl. And this doesn't need to be a very big movement. Might not be as big as I'm doing it right now, just to sort of show you where we're going. So yours might be very small. And as you go back and forth, you're thinking about your head reaching up towards the ceiling. So really it's just the low body here, like underneath your belly button that's moving. And once you've found the action, you might even close your eyes and start to imagine that it's just the bones that are moving and not the muscles doing any work. We'll get to the muscles in a little bit, but for now we're just looking at moving. Moving back and forth, maybe one more time. And water pouring out the back of the bowl. Water pouring out the front of the bowl. And we're going to start to invite the rest of the spine to join in. So as the water tips out back, our belly button reaches back, our chest caves in, like we're making a C shape. And then we're going to let the tail press back, stick our bum out, let the belly button go forward and lift through your chest. I'm going to add our breath. So as we exhale, bowl back, belly back, chest caves in. And as you inhale, bowl forward, so stick your bum out, belly forward, chest lifts. 2 more times. Exhale, bowl back, belly back, chest soft. Inhale, belly forward, chest lift. 1 more time. Bowl back, belly back, chest softens. And inhaling, bowl forward, belly forward, chest lift. And gently bringing yourself back up nice and tall. And we're going to invite our pelvis or low back to move in some other directions. So I'll spin back around. Now I'm going to get you to imagine, so we were kind of going front and back. Now we're going to try and go side to side, like we're lifting one bum cheek. So you can imagine like you're trying to pull, say, a blanket out from under your bum on the couch. You're going to try and lift that bum cheek. You let it come down, and then you're trying to get something out from under the other bum cheek. And then you're going to bring it down. It might not actually get off the chair, but that's where you're aiming. You're trying to pull something out from under your bum and back, and then the other way. Once you've found that action, you're going to see if you can start to leave your head reaching towards the ceiling. So what you probably did right away was let yourself lean to the side. So I want you to see, keeping the head lifting up, trying to lift just the hip, and then coming down. And again, your head stays reaching, and you're trying to lift the other bum. And now we're going to go back and forth a couple times. So what we're noticing is almost like we're doing a little sit-up sideways here to lift that bum up. And the other way. Again, it might not actually lift off the chair, it might just hover. That's a great start. So we're not used to moving down here very much, so it's nice just to get things, sort of work to get things moving, whether or not they actually do at the beginning. And again, closing the eyes might help, and And you can almost picture those bones again. If you think about those elephant ears in your pelvis, it's like you're tipping the ears in one direction and then the other. Yeah, now that we're balanced, I'm going to let our bum stay down. And then we're going to find one more action through our pelvis. So this time you're going to imagine like you've got a button in front of one knee. You're going to try and push the button with the one knee. And then you're going to switch sides. You're going to try and push the button with the other knee. And you probably can't see too well with me sitting forwards. I'm going to spin the other way. And we'll try that again. So one knee is going to reach forward. One knee comes a little back, and then the other way. So we're coming forwards in front, and then the other knee is going to come forwards. I'm not sure if that's a good angle. There we go. So we're trying not to move the feet. It's like a little bit of a seesaw with the knees. So what we're doing now, that's a good angle. You're inviting the hips to rotate a little bit. So now the elephant ears aren't going back and forth, they're not going up and down, they're kind of going side to side. And if you've got that action, you might start to feel your bum getting a little warm. If you've got that, you might now consider trying not to let the shoulders come with you. So I'm going to try and keep my shoulders forwards, and just my knees and my hips are going to twist. This is the trickiest part. So again, we might not get there in the first time or the second or the third, but something that we're working towards. Again, we're not used to moving down here, so it's a bit tricky. Good. All right, we're going to let that go. We've moved our low body in a bunch of different directions. I'll come back forward. So I'm going to start to now think about the leg bone here sitting in your hip socket. And what we're going to do is you can let your bum come to the front of your chair, and you're going to lean back. So the bum is forward, your shoulders are towards the back of the chair. And if this isn't a comfortable place for you, you might just actually do it staying up seated. You'll just get at the angle of the leg in a slightly different way. So I'm going to start with the right leg here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to invite the right leg to straighten out. And then I'm going to invite the knee a little out to the side, like I'm rotating out. I'm going to bend the knee back in, and the knee's going to come up. So it's like I'm drawing a circle with my kneecap, so the leg's straightening out, knee goes a little to the side. I'm going to bring the knee up, and then start again. So I'm drawing a little circle with my kneecap. I'm going to do it a couple times. And if you notice as you're doing this that you're feeling it more in your knee than in your hip, I'm going to try it a couple times leaning back. Here, where we're leaning back, the body's in a bit more of a straight line. So I might not bother the knees as much. Might have a little more range in our hips. You can always, if you're leaning back, hold your head. Do one or two more of those. And you can notice as my foot goes, it's kind of going straight forward and back. It's not sliding out to the side. So I'm not drawing the circle with my foot. My foot's going front and back like I'm going along a balance beam or a tightrope. But my knee's making the circles. And what that's going to do is find lots of different sort of nooks and crannies in my hip, inviting the leg bone to rotate in many ways. And we're going to come and go the other way. So now the knee is going to come up towards the center, out to the side, and then long. Might get a little slippery, so sometimes it's good to wear socks when you're doing this actually. My feet are sticking to the floor, but you get the gist. And let's do one more in this direction. And leg slides long, very sticky. And we'll bring that foot back in. I'm going to do the other side. So again, we can start with the leg nice and long. You can invite the knee to the side. Foot stays along a nice straight line, but the knee's making circles. So straightening out, knee to the side, and up. So you're going in to go down, you're going out to come up. And as you do that, you might even consider the knee crossing the midline. So the knee, as you're bringing it down, might come a little in. Now, if you're working with a hip replacement, we don't want to cross the midline very near your replacement date. So you can always be cautious and just hit the midline straight, not cross across it, as you feel comfortable and safe. Well, a couple times the other direction, so then you can come out to the side, then the leg, sticky time, comes along, you bring it in to come up. So you're going out to go down, and you're going in to come up. Let's do 3 more. You're going out to come down, in to come up, 2 more, out to come down, in to come up, and last one, out to come down. So sticky. In to come up. All right, now we're going to press our way up. So we moved a little bit, all the different parts of our low back in different directions. We moved our hips all in different directions. Now we're going to do a little bit of strengthening work. So I'm going to get you to widen your feet here, as wide as feels comfortable. We're going to inhale nice and tall. And you're going to start to exhale forwards. And so your elbows can come to rest on your thighs here. Your head can hang a little bit forward. And if it feels like the floor is within reaching distance, you might reach for it. Or if you've got a yoga block, which I have here, I'm going to bring that as well underneath your hands on any height. You can let the head hang. I'm going to find a little bit of strength. So I'm going to get you, as you inhale, to just use your bum muscles. Press your knees a little bit wider apart. And as you exhale, let that relax. Do that 4 or 5 times again. Each inhale, you're squeezing your bum, press the knees apart. And as you're exhaling, you're going to let your bum relax. 2 more times, again, strong. And if this is feeling simple, maybe you're holding the knees wide. So feeling your bum muscles engaged for a few breaths. Or you can pulse back and forth between strong and relaxed. Now from here, you can let the bum relax. We're going to come into our feet. Now you can do this one at a time or both feet at the same time. We're going to lift. I'll start with 1 foot at a time. One heel as high as I can bring it. And then in a slow motion, lower it down. And then I'll do the other leg, the same thing, reaching the heel up as high as I can, and then slowly down. And as I do that, I'm going to notice if my head, of course because I'm talking to the screen, is lifted up. But as you're doing it, I'm going to see if you can keep your head really heavy. And you're breathing. So as we're going, the head is heavy, also the body's heavy. We're going to resist the urge to bring the whole body with us as we lift. See if we can keep this heavy so we're feeling the movement of the leg bone in the hip. And then once you're balanced, you can let that go. And if you're using a block, you can bring it with you as you come up. And then we're going to bring it between the knees. So I'm going to strengthen a little through the inner thighs now. And strengthen a little, find a little work in our belly as well. So we're going to remember that bowl action we did at the beginning of class where the water tipped out the back and then the water tipped out the front. We're going to use that same idea. So this time we're going to do it strongly. So we're going to squeeze our thighs together and you're going to invite the bowl to tip backwards here. So you're going to notice when you tip the bowl back, you got the inner thighs working because we're squeezing the block. Your belly starts to work. Even your bum muscles start to work. And then we're going to inhale, come all the way up. Couple times. Exhale, squeeze and tip. Belly strong, legs strong. You're going to inhale all the way up. Do a couple of those. Again, exhale, squeeze and tip. Maybe pause the breath. Maybe inhale up. You do that a couple more times. So you exhale all the way, strong muscles. You pause as long as your body will let you. When you need to inhale, you come all the way up. And 2 or 3 more of those. Again, you squeeze, you tip, you pause. Let's do 1 more of these. And this time as we squeeze and we tip, we're going to stay down there for a breath. So your belly's engaged, your legs are engaged, you're breathing in, You're breathing out for 1 or 2 breaths. And then we're going to inhale, come all the way up. And we're going to release that block. And I should have said, so if we don't have a block, you can always use a small pillow, or even a book, anything at all. The nice thing about the yoga blocks is they do have different widths, but again, work with what you've got at home. So I'm going to set that aside now. And we're going to find a little abdominal work in the chair here. So I'm going to slide in, come sideways again. So we're going to invite our bum to the front of the chair and the shoulders back again. And I'm going to get you to look at my low back here. So right now there's a fair bit of space here between my low back and the chair. I'm going to try and press my belly button down so that my low back gets closer to the chair. And then I'm going to find the opposite. I'm going to see that my belly button can lift off the chair. And so here, I'm just getting you to do the opposite so you feel what it's like to press the belly down. You're going to try and keep holding the belly down towards the chair seat. Well, you might start to feel some work in the abdomen. And I'm just going to bring my hands back here so that you can keep an eye on my back. So as I straighten my legs out, they might not get perfectly straight, but I'm going to resist the urge to let my back lift up. So I'm going to try and keep pressing my belly down. Again, I'm going to feel it working. And then what I'm going to start to do is think about scooping my leg to lift it. So I'm not thinking about lifting from my thigh. I'm thinking about pressing my bum cheek down and lifting from the back of the leg. And then I'm going to slow motion lower it down. Again, as I lower, I'm resisting the urge to do this. So the work is coming from the low belly. We press the bum cheek down, try and scoop from the back of the leg to lift, and slow motion lowering down. I'm trying to get my arms out of the way for you. Again, we press the bum cheek down to lift the leg. Imagine lifting from the back of your leg and slow motion lowering it down again. Back and forth. Press the bum down to lift from the back of the leg. Imagine a scooping feeling. And then slow motion lowering it down. Again, I'm going to show you where we don't want to go. We don't want to lift from the front. We want to lift from scooping underneath. And hopefully we're feeling that work in the low belly. And you're going to do as many as you can of those. And then maybe one more. My students' favorite sentence. Do as many as you can, and then one more. All right. So for now, this might be something you do more of, but we'll do one last one here, one last one on either side. Again, bum presses down to scoop and lift. It's what you can do on commercial breaks when you're watching TV. Good. Or during the show. All right, and then we're going to come back to a nice seat. Hopefully you feel nice and warm there in your belly. And I'm going to stay sitting sideways here. And we're going to find now a little bit of work of the muscles along your spine. So what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to start by imagining that your spine is like an umbrella handle. And of course your spine isn't straight like an umbrella handle, but we're gathering that just kind of goes up through your torso. Then I'm going to get you to imagine some umbrellas through your rib cage and your torso. So your first umbrella is going to sit right around your waist, so at the base of your ribs. And your umbrella can be any color you want. And then you're going to come up a little bit higher through the torso. We're going to find an umbrella in around our armpit area. And then you're going to come a little bit higher. There's going to be an umbrella up at the tops of your shoulders. And then there's going to be another umbrella at your chin. And so you might close your eyes to help you imagine that feeling. Again, there's a handle up and down through the center of your torso, and then there's 4 umbrellas. And as we start to come to a twist, I want you to see if you can keep those umbrellas from tipping side to side or in other directions. So they're going to stay parallel to the floor. So what we can start to do is imagine that bottom umbrella turning as much as it can go over the handle. You're going to come to your armpits umbrella. You're going to try and twist the armpits umbrella a little bit more. Now your collarbones umbrella is going to twist a little bit more. And then your chin umbrella is going to twist a little bit more. Your arms are going to land wherever they land. So I'm not pulling with my arms. I'm trying to find the muscles along my spine to help me twist. So again, we'll start with the bottom of the ribs umbrella, twisting a little bit more. Might just be a micromillimeter. Up to the armpits umbrella, twisting a tiny bit more. Collarbones umbrella, twisting a tiny bit more. And then chin umbrella, twisting a tiny bit more. I'm going to try and do that one more time again. Bottom of the ribs umbrella, micromillimeter further. Armpits umbrella, micromillimeter further. Collarbones umbrella, micromillimeter further. And chin umbrella, micromillimeter further. Now I'm going to try and untwist one at a time. So starting again from the bottom, I'm going to try and untwist just the bottom so my face stays over my shoulder as long as it can. Armpits umbrella is going to untwist. Shoulder umbrella is going to untwist. And chin umbrella is going to untwist. Ooh. I love that exercise. So why I find it so wonderful, I feel super crooked right now, is that in our vertebrae, where we've got all these little muscles that connect between each vertebrae, or some to the next vertebrae, some to say 2 up, some to 3 up, and some that go along the whole length of our spine. But what we're often doing when we're twisting, we twist from one place. So I usually twist around my waist. You can see that's my natural place I want to twist. If I remember, oh right, my head, I can add my head. But by finding these different areas to move from, we can find some more twists. We find more of those little muscles. We find more mobility. So we're going to try the umbrellas on the other side. And so I'm going to start again with that bottom of your ribs umbrella. It's going to go as far as it can. Maybe I should face the other way so I speak to the camera. Okay, well, find the bottom of the ribs umbrella. And then we're going to come up to your armpits umbrella. You're going to try and twist that a little bit more. And then your collarbones umbrella. And then your chin umbrella. And we'll start again. So bottom of the ribs umbrella. Armpits umbrella. Collarbones umbrella. And chin umbrella. One more time, like you're wringing out a dishcloth. Bottom of the ribs, armpits, collarbones, micromillimeters at a time, and chin. And then we're going to try and untwist in the same order. So base of the ribs, keep the face over your shoulder, base of the armpits, collarbones, and chin. All right. Wonderful. Spin us back around, coming back towards the seat. All right, so we're going to come into just a couple stretches now, more familiar yoga shapes. And so we're going to start by widening a little through the feet again, as we did earlier. If you need a sip of water at any point during the sequence as well, feel free. You can join back up when you're ready. So we're going to start by sitting up here nice and tall. And as I exhale, I'm going to look over towards my left knee. When I do that, I'm going to notice if this knee wanted to follow me. If it did, I'm going to try and press back with those bum muscles we found at the beginning of class. Now we'll inhale again nice and tall. And as we exhale, your right elbow is going to start to sink towards the thigh. So you're noticing if your body wants to curve like a C. I want you to see if you can feel like a V, the side of a V with your body. You're looking to the left knee, the body's coming sideways. Now you might explore extending your left leg here. Now if that makes you feel like you're going to fall off your chair, you're going to keep it underneath you. And we're going to invite the chest here to start to open, and maybe that arm starts to reach towards the ceiling. Now if it doesn't feel great for the arm to reach, if there's any shoulder things, just leave it on your waist or on your thigh. And you can focus on your shoulders twisting here. So whether or not we're using the arm, the chest and shoulders are opening. So I'll show a few with my arm and a few without. So as I exhale, I'm going to twist to look towards the floor. The arm can point down towards the floor. And as I inhale, I'm going to open my chest. A couple times. As I exhale, I'm going to twist and point and look towards the floor. And as I inhale, I'm going to twist, open. Again, if I wasn't using the arm, I would look the same, but I'm looking towards the floor, twisting the spine, and inhaling, opening the chest. I'm going to do that one more time. Again, looking towards the floor, whether or not you're using the arm, and as you're inhaling, you're opening your chest. Now from here, we're going to stay for a few breaths for a nice long side stretch. So again, maybe the hand stays where it is. Maybe it's reaching for the ceiling or even past the ceiling to open up through the chest and side body. We're going to take 3 breaths here, imagining breathing into those side of your ribs. As you exhale, maybe a nice sigh. One more breath. And out. And from there, we're going to bring ourselves all the way up. We'll pause in the moment that's right, in the moment. Pause in the moment. We will pause in the moment. Oh boy, in the middle for a moment. And we're going to come towards the other side. We'll inhale again, nice and tall. I'm going to start to twist our shoulders to look towards that right knee. Again, checking that this knee didn't follow you. So pressing the knee back. Inhaling tall. And as we exhale, this time the left elbow is going to sink. And again, we're thinking long like a V, not curved like a C. Long like a V. Maybe that other leg is stretching out, maybe not. I'm going to leave mine extended this time. And I'm going to think about a barber pole action in that leg. So the knee isn't coming forward, it's barber pulling out, out, out. Now whether or not the leg is long or bent, I'm going to open the chest. And on your exhale, you're going to twist again around to point towards the floor or to look towards the floor. And as you inhale again, opening your chest. And so remembering wherever you are with the arm, however high it is, it can just hover around your body. It can reach right for the ceiling. It can stay by the leg. You're thinking about your chest, opening and closing. I'm going to do that one more time so we're balanced to the first side. And then the next time the chest is open, we're going to stay there. So again, maybe the arm just stays on the leg if you're working with shoulder things. Maybe it starts to reach up as high as it'll go. Maybe that's even away from those toes. And as we breathe, we think about breathing into the right side of the ribs this time. Nice inhale. And a nice exhale. And 2 more breaths. And out. And we're going to press ourselves all the way up here. If you need the arm to bring the leg in, if it's straight, you can. All right. And we're going to come into 2 last stretches here. So I'm going to give you a standing option and a seated option. I'll show the standing option first. So you can come up towards standing. And you're going to have the chair facing towards you, the short end facing towards you. And you can start to bend at your hips here, letting the hands come down. Now the palms can come flat, or you can kind of hold on to the sides of the chair, whatever feels better. And what we're going to start to do is bend our left knee, and our left hand can stay down. Now my right hand's going to come to my waist, and I'm going to open my chest towards the right. As I do that, I'm hopefully starting to feel a stretch through the outside of my right hip and bum, and I breathe. Now I'm going to show you the seated version in a moment on the other side. But wherever we are, we're thinking, sorry, if we're up in this standing version, we're thinking about the chest being open. And that right bum, the right hip, the right waist, wherever we're feeling the stretch, softening a little bit each exhale. We're going to carefully untwist. And then if you're going to do the standing version here again, the right knee bends. This time your left hand's at your waist and you open your chest. Or I'm going to show you a seated version. And so what we would do if we were seated is you would cross here one knee over the other knee if that's possible. If that's not possible, you can walk the feet over a little bit towards one side. You could even cross the ankles. And you're going to see you can bring one hand to the thigh and twist a little so that you feel some sort of stretch through the hip or through the bum. The ankles crossing isn't working. We can bring the foot onto another chair or onto a block if you've got it. And again, it can invite its way across your body a little bit. It's a little trickier to find this one in the chair, but it is possible. Now, if you're doing the standing version, you can slowly make your way out. And in a seat here, just making sure you can always pause the video and make sure you've got both sides equally. But wherever we are, we're going to carefully untwist, bring the leg down. All right, I'm going to show you one more exercise now for the front of the hip, a bit of a stretch. So often with low back pain, if you'll notice when we're sitting, thinking about the front of our hips here, as we sit and the knees go forward, this gets really short in here. So the psoas or the hip flexor, which some of us might have heard about, if we think if this is staying chronically short, so it's usually short because we're in this 90-degree angle, if I imagine this getting very tight, which it might if I sit a lot and I start to stand up, so if it's very, very tight and I can't quite stretch it long to come up to standing, to keep the little fold here, I have to crunch a bit in my low back. So often when people come in with back pain, I like to do a little bit of stretching up through the front of the hips so they can come to stand a little taller through the fronts. So a couple, again, different ways of doing this next one. You can find yourself so that you can have one hand holding onto a chair and potentially the other hand holding onto a wall for support. So I'm actually going to come a little closer to my window here. So I've got one hand on the wall, one hand on the chair, if you're concerned about your balance. And so what we'll do is we'll bring one of our feet up towards the chair. And if it's too high, again, that block can come in handy, or anything somewhat shorter if you've got a little step stool. So block is always a nice option. Or even actually, I'm realizing there's a little bar here on my chair. So finding something that's maybe a little lower than the chair might feel safer. And wherever we are, so I'll do this one on the block since my foot's already here. I'm going to notice when my foot lifts, this hip, this bum cheek might want to lift a little bit. I'm going to try and drop it down so it's level. And when I do that, my shoulders might need to tip a little bit forward. I'm also going to check in that the headlights of my hips are pointing in the same direction. So they're going to want to open towards the wall a bit here. I'm going to try and keep them forward. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my supporting leg bum cheek, so my left bum cheek, and I'm going to try and press my weight a little bit forwards. Now if my foot's too close, like mine is right now, I'm going to feel like I'm going to fall over a bit. So I'm going to step a little further back, and I'm going to push with my left bum cheek forward. So when my bum cheek is nice and strong, the front of the hip can relax a little bit, and then I'm going to shift my weight back. Now when I press forward by turning on my left bum cheek, I'm going to try not to let my hips open. I'm going to try and keep them forwards. And that supporting leg as straight as possible. And back up. We're going to do that a couple times. So again, I'm trying to push forward with the left bum cheek nice and strong. And if it's possible to keep that back leg really straight, I am. Let's do two more of those. A little firmness in the belly so we're not finding it in the back. Now you can either keep pumping back and forth here gently and slowly with your breath, or if you want to explore staying at the front, staying in that lunge shape, You might even start to test your balance. So maybe one arm reaches forward. Maybe the other arm reaches forward. Smiling always helps in this situation. And take one or two more breaths, whether you're holding on for dear life or thinking about reaching those fingers forward. We're still breathing. And we're going to slowly bring the hands back to their support. So we're going to shift our weight back and bring that foot down. So I'll show the second side on the chair. So I'll bring it a little closer to myself. I'm going to bring it up. Again, when I do that, this hip wants to lift up high. I'm going to try and drop it down. And there might not be space unless I shift my shoulders forward. That's totally fine. And again, I don't want this foot too close to me, so I'm going to bring the chair a little further away. And the headlights of my hips aren't opening up. I'm keeping them forwards. So again, what that's doing is just targeting right through the front of the hip and through the front of the thigh. So this time my right leg is my supporting leg. I'm going to press forward with my right bum cheek. Try not to bend that knee. Nice and strong. However far you go, it might not be too far, and slowly pressing back. Again, as the bum is strong, your belly is also strong so that we're not crunching here in the low back. And then we're slowly coming back. I'm going to do that maybe 3 or 4 more times. Hopefully finding a stretch to the front of the hip, maybe even the front of the thigh. And then again, if you feel like you want to stay in that lunge shape, you can. Otherwise, keep pulsing. If pulsing feels better, you're going to keep pulsing. And maybe you're still holding on for dear life. Maybe you explore one arm or the other lifting off, or even just coming to fingertips. 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then we're going to carefully, whether we were pulsing or not, bring that foot down. And have a well-deserved rest here. So you're going to come back towards the seat. And just finding somewhere your leg muscles can relax. Maybe give them a little shake out. Thank them for doing all that hard work. Maybe give your toes a little wiggle. And find the place as well that your arms can soften over the bones. So if anything else needs a shake to help them soften, those muscles soften, then go ahead. You can invite your eyes to close, your face to relax a little bit. Wiggles or silly faces you need to help make that happen. And then taking a good few moments here to let all that hard work sink in. And if the eyes are comfortable, close, you can close them. We'll finish with a little guided relaxation here. And so we're going to start with the face, your forehead, your cheeks, your jaw. Inviting the whole face, the jaw, your tongue to get soft and heavy. And then bringing your mind to the back of your head, your ears, your whole scalp. And you're going to invite the back of your head, your ears to get softer and heavier. And your neck, your throat, you're noticing in your mind. Try and feel your neck and your throat, and as you exhale, you soften a little more. I'm going to come down to both hands here, to your fingers, your palms, your backs of your hands. And again, if they're still feeling tight, maybe you stretch and squeeze a couple times or wiggle. Let the hands relax. Maybe they want to be down by your sides. Maybe they want to be in your lap. And you're going to let your forearm muscles, your upper arm muscles, feel like they're going to relax over the bones. And with the hands, the arm muscles nice and soft, it's like the bones, the arm bones are just hanging out of the shoulder sockets, and those shoulders get a little heavier towards the floor. signal with your mind to your ribs, to your belly, all those muscles along your spine, your low back. The chair is holding you up so that all those muscles can soften a little more. You don't have to hold on anymore. Just for now while we rest. I'm going to send the same message to your bum muscles, your hip muscles. The bottom of the chair is holding up the legs so the hips, the bum can relax. If you need to move the legs in any way to find that relaxation through your hips, you can. And traveling to your thighs and your calves, imagining also those muscles softening over the bones. Even your skin relaxing over the muscles. Come right down to your feet and your toes. So if it's hard to find your feet in your mind, maybe wiggle those toes for a moment. And let the feet, all the muscles of the feet, relax a little more. So letting your whole body here to be soft and heavy for a few last breaths. Need any nice sighs or yawn? Whole body soft and heavy. Now feel free to stay in this soft resting place as long as you need, as long as your body's asking for it. Whenever you feel you might be ready to start to come out, start by deepening your breath. And as you're deepening your breath, thanking yourself for taking all this time to take care of your body, your low back, your hips. And then in your own time, finding some small and then large movements to come back into the space. And again, no rush. Opening those eyes only when you're ready. And thank you so much for coming on this journey today, learning a little more about your low back, your hips. Hopefully you're feeling a little more comfortable than you were a little while ago. Again, you can always feel free to reach out and contact me with any questions or comments. My website and my email are linked below. So again, thank you so much and take good care.